Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show.
Hello, one and all, and welcome to yet another episode of the Newfangled Motion Picture Show. I am Niall.
And I am Nolan.
And we will be doing a review of Gringo.
Yep. Of which we are both Gringos.
Yeah. So, we're going to be doing our normal thing, where we do a spoiler-free review, and then give you a spoiler warning and go more in-depth into it from there. Not that there's a whole lot to be said in the spoiler part, I think, for this movie. It's a comedy. So, without further ado, let us jump right in.
Yep.
So, the first thing I have to say about Gringo is it is not quite what the trailers make it out to be.
No, the trailers make it out to be like this hangover style, just over the top crazy antics comedy, and it's not really that. It is still a comedy, but it's a lot more grounded, and there's some like more serious stuff going on within the story.
Yep. With that being said, it was still a good movie.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed it. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, just know that if you're gonna go see it, and it's not what you expected, don't get mad at it. The trailer is misleading.
Yep. So yeah, this movie is pretty funny. It's not like non-stop humor like The Hangover was, for instance.
Right. It picks its moments to be funny.
Yeah. But it was definitely entertaining if you're looking for a comedy.
Yeah, I
do recommend it.
I don't want to spoil anything. So like talking in depth about it, I think is gonna lead to spoilers. I mean, we know from the trailer this guy is sent to Mexico. He works for a pharmaceutical company, and he's sent to Mexico because they have a factory in Mexico. And the company he works for is producing like this pill version of marijuana.
Well, the thing is too, like that was another thing that was kind of misleading about the trailer.
Yeah, that's really a small portion of the movie.
Well, not just that, but I mean, the reason for why he's there, like what he's even doing in Mexico specifically. That was misleading. I don't know if it's really a spoiler or not, so I'll just wait for it to be in the spoiler section anyway, just to be safe. But yeah,
the way the trailer kind of made it look to be like it's this sort of movie where everyone's after this pill, and there's like all these different parties trying to get at this pill, and he's caught in the middle of it. This poor guy's kind of caught in the middle of it, and that's not really it.
No.
The pill is... It could have been anything, almost anything, really. It's not that important to the story.
Yeah.
So, be prepared for that. Be prepared for the movie not being anything like what the trailer portrays it to be, and I think you'd be fine.
Yeah.
And we've run into other movies in the past where they've gotten bad reviews because the trailers make the movie look entirely different from what they wound up being.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie.
No, not by any means. I enjoyed it.
Yep. But it's definitely not what we thought it was going to be going into it.
Yep. But the performances were good. David Oyelowo, or I don't really know how to pronounce it. He's been in a few things here and there. And then Joel Edgerton's popped up and stuff recently. I mean, he was in Red Sparrow.
Yep.
And Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron, to me, I was explaining this to you before. It's always kind of, for some reason, it's always kind of weird to me when Charlize Theron is...
Yeah, what's my phone?
Is portrayed as sexy in a movie, like she is in this, because in my mind, she's Imperator Furiosa. Like, that, to me, that is the iconic role that I think of when I think of her. And she is not in any way made to be sexy in that movie.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, she was great in this. You can tell in the trailer it's a character that you're supposed to hate. She does a good job at it.
There are a lot of characters in this movie you're supposed to hate.
Yeah. Honestly, like, the Mexican cartel dude, like, you don't hate as much as this dude's bosses.
Yeah. The Mexican cartel is almost like a better person. At least you like know where you stand with him.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's getting into spoiler territory, so I think it's about all we can say.
Yeah.
Really, I recommend if you're looking for a comedy, it's definitely R.
Yep.
It's still a fun romp of a movie. I enjoyed it.
Indeed. So, do recommend.
Yes.
Alright. So, I guess, henceforth, spoiler town.
Yeah.
Alright, so, what I was saying is, so, they made it seem, the trailers made it seem like the main character was being sent to Mexico to retrieve this pill and formula and bring it back to their pharmaceutical company in the States, when he's in Mexico with them. Like, they go to Mexico with him.
Well, I mean, his job, you can kind of, you can tell, like, from other stuff, he's regularly goes to Mexico to visit this plant they have. And so he's there for, regular inspections or progress reports or whatever he does. That seems to be a regular part of his job. Like, he's down there once a month or something, because he talks about, like, oh yeah, the driver that the company, sends, I always bring him barbecue from this one place.
Yeah.
And, like the people at the factory, they talk, they know him, like he's like, knows everybody. And so you kind of get the feeling that he goes down there a lot for his job.
Right.
And it's just that he works for a pharmaceutical company and they have a factory in Mexico and he just has to go there for, as the go-between.
Right. But they're in Mexico with him when he finds out that they're planning to have him fired or fire him in this merger with another company. And, he thought that Joel Edgerton's character was his friend, when, like, that guy's a real douchebag throughout the whole movie, just the way he treats everyone around him.
Mm-hmm.
So he decides...
They've been friends since college or something like that.
Yeah. So he decides to fake being kidnapped to get them to pay a ransom on him.
Well, there's an insurance policy.
Right.
The company had an insurance policy against that sort of thing.
Because he's going to Mexico all the time.
Right. And it turns out that policy they had allowed it to lapse because they didn't want to continue paying it. They couldn't afford to continue paying it.
Yeah.
And he didn't know that. And now, but the cartel, because it's a matter of doing business in that area, you got to pay the cartels, and so they were paying the cartel in drugs
and product.
And that's the only reason why this pill being like a marijuana pill even matters.
Yeah,
is because they had promised cartel. Well, the two bosses, Charlize Theron and Joel Edgerton, they run the company. They didn't want to continue paying the cartel, and so the cartel's like, well, we gotta do something. So they kidnapped the black guy, who they assume is the guy in charge.
Yeah.
Or the black Gringo, as they call him.
Yeah.
They assume he's in charge, and so they actually do try to kidnap him. They never wind up doing it or whatever. It's just this whole thing, like everyone's trying to go after him, and he himself is actually the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Rather than the pills being the MacGuffin, which is what the trailer made it look out to be. And this guy's getting shit on by everyone around him. His boss, who he thought was his friend, talks shit about him behind his back all the time. His boss is having an affair with his wife.
Yeah.
And his wife's going to leave him for his boss, and he finds out while he's in Mexico. It's just everyone around him is just treating him like shit.
Yeah. Meanwhile, his boss has sent his brother, who used to be a mercenary, to Mexico to retrieve him. And then partway through the movie, he
because that'll be
realizes
cheaper than paying the
ransom.
that he thinks that because his brother or the guy actually hasn't been kidnapped.
Yeah, and then partway through the movie, he realizes that the company still has a life insurance policy on him. If he's killed in a foreign country doing business, like on a business trip, they'll be paid $2 million.
$5 million.
$5 million. So he offers to pay his brother even more money if he kills the guy. And yeah, so it's the whole thing. Like it gets pretty convoluted. Not as convoluted as I was hoping. Like to the level of like the Hangover movies or Snatch.
Yeah, it still gets pretty convoluted. I saw some reviews where people didn't like how convoluted it was. It wasn't hard to follow by any means. But yeah, there's you just have a lot of balls in the air.
Yep.
And it turns out like this guy who was like his driver for the company is actually a DEA agent,
which we called pretty early on.
Yeah, we called it pretty early on, but they weren't really trying to hide it.
No.
Because once Harold is the character's name. Once Harold like disappears on his own, this guy starts going into like this like agent mode, trying to track him down. And like obviously he's more than just the driver for the company car.
Yeah,
you know. The cartel guy was funny. He's like this Beatles fan. He like brings people up. First thing he asked was like, "Do you like the Beatles?"
Yeah.
Everyone he brings is like, "Do you like the Beatles?"
And he asks him if Sgt. Pepper is their best album.
Yeah. Which it's not.
It's not. It's also not Let It Be, which is what the cartel boss, the Black Panther. I'm not joking. Like that's his cartel name.
Well, he has this like his symbol that he puts on everything is a picture of a Black Panther. Yeah. So they call him the Black Panther.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, he seems to think Let It Be is their best album. But anyway, so yeah, and in the end, Harold, who's starting to go by Harry. Oh yeah, and there's that white couple.
Oh yeah.
Who like pretty easy to forget about. The dude was in Mexico to get the pill for
someone else is trying to they get wind of this pill and they're trying to steal it so they can reverse engineer it and start producing it themselves. So this guy's a mule to bring it back, and then the only other good person in the entire movie is the guy's girlfriend, Sunny, who they meet because they're staying in the same hotel, and so Harold and her become friends at the end of the movie, and he opens a bar on the beach in Mexico, and just they text back and forth.
Yep.
Occasionally or something.
Yep. So this is theatrical release movie number 4 for Amazon, isn't it? Something like that.
I don't know.
They've done a few now, right?
Yeah.
They're getting into everything, man. But so yeah, recommend go sing it. That's all I think we can really say about it.
Yeah, it's
pretty funny. Not non-stop laughing level of funny, but
no, it's not like hurt your sides, bust a gut laughing funny at all. But it's still pretty good.
Yeah, I can't remember the last movie I saw that was like that.
Maybe the first Hangover was like that.
The third one was pretty good too.
Yeah.
2 was.
I think that same guy's in The Wrinkle in Time. He's the It.
So, next week is Tomb Raider. And 7 Days in Entebbe. Am I saying that name right? I've only ever read it. Like I've read about that event, so I've only ever read that word.
I don't know.
It's a city in Uganda?
Yeah, it's in Uganda.
Yeah. Because it's got Idi Amin in the... Right? That was when he was ruling, right?
Maybe.
Oh, well. Anyway, and then week after that's Pacific Rim 2 and Isle of Dogs. So it looks like 2 movies each week, the next 2 weeks for us. Maybe 3 if we can get freaking Death of Stalin somewhere near us.
Yeah.
So,
Did you read the comic ever?
What?
Death of Stalin.
No, I didn't.
It's based on a comic book.
Right. No, I didn't. But yeah, hopefully we'll get to see that somewhere near us before too terribly long. Well, yeah, I think that's probably it for this week. Go check out our streams. We're on Twitch and the other videos on our YouTube channel. Other movie reviews, archives of our Twitch streams, things like that. So you can check that out. Twitch is twitch.tv/everything_is_bad. Where we stream. It's been some Sundays for the last couple months, but it's looking like it's going to be most Sundays again going forward. So, but yeah, I think that's all we have really to say about this.
Yeah.
We're done. Cool. Good, check it out. Next week, Tomb Raider, 7 Days in a Tebby. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Bye.
Toodaloo.